Paul, I have something for you because you know Steve and I like to pitch you stocks. So I'm going to give you some little bit of information and some statistics on a stock that I've seen, and Steve's going to give you some information on a stock that he's found, and you just have to tell us whether you're interested in them or not.
Okay.
So this is kind of following on from the success of me encouraging you to look at Norilsk Metal, the Russian nickel miner. So
that went well.
Yeah. So here's some more.
Hasn't finished yet. It's going to be fine.
Yeah. So both of these stocks that we're going to recommend are FTSE 250 stocks. They're both banks. The first one that I will describe to you has 8,000 employees. It has positive earnings with a PE ratio, Paul, of 3. It was actually 2 earlier this week. It's ran up a bit while we've been while I was writing. Dividend yield, Paul, I know you like this, 7.2%. 700 million market cap. It's about 1 times price to revenue. Book value, very good for value in banks, of 0.79. It's UK listed, so you're going to get all of that yield. Steve, what's yours?
So mine has a slightly lower PE than Steve's. It's just under 3, or at least it did earlier this week. I didn't actually update it today. It's only got a dividend yield of 5% this time. Price to book is 0.6. So it looks to me like it's shaping up to be pretty good value here, I think. You compare that with some of the US banks and it shapes up really, really nicely, right? So, yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking.
I don't think I could name a FTSE 250 bank, if I'm honest. My head's blank. Obviously, it's interesting.
I can name 3.
I feel
2 of them are these ones.
I feel like you're trying to lure me into a trap here. But yeah, of course, it's interesting. I mean, especially as the American banks are sitting at like a book value of 1 at the minute, aren't they? So
1.5.
Yeah, so you mentioned the American banks. Here's how I'd kind of value an American bank for what it's worth, or a bank in general, but here's some examples from the US banks. So the way I sort of think about these and their kind of business is think about their return on equity, so what they get by lending out their equity capital and so on, versus the amount you have to pay for that equity, which is basically the return on equity over the price to book. So the one I'm looking at here, you get 25% return on equity times a 0.6 price to book. I think I mentioned is a 41.6% expected earnings return, which is high. JP Morgan, when I looked earlier this week, was offering you about a 16% return over a 1.3 price to book, so about 12%. Bank of America, 12 over 1.07, so about 11%. Wells Fargo came in at about 12%. Citigroup, much to be said about that, but around 18%. None of them are even half the kind of value you're getting here, I think. I do look at
so, do you want to hear a little bit more about them, Paul?
Go for it. You tell me what... This is a surprise to me.
So these 2 banks, the tickers are BGEO and TBC. So these guys are both banks in Georgia and Uzbekistan at the moment. So they are they're incredibly close to the Ukraine war and widely reported as being potentially the next targets. So strictly putting on your Templeton hat here, Paul, strictly speaking, is this an opportunity to be greedy when others are being fearful?
Oh, it's scary, isn't it? It's scary after I've been burned once already. Although, saying that, I do, even with Russia, have the belief that eventually this will all even out. I think, obviously, Russia's economies should be damaged. In fact, the whole world's economy is going to be damaged after a long period. But, yeah, I watched Howard Marks today, a 2-hour interview with Howard Marks, talking about how he doesn't think particularly that we're in a particularly overvalued stock market right now. He always thinks that the world's going to do better afterwards, and he talks a lot about emotion. It was really interesting the way he talks about emotion and risk, and he basically said you've got to try and do the thing that everyone, your inner being is telling you not to, and it's very interesting. I did, however, I went to Oaktree Capital's 13F afterwards and looked at it and went, oh my god, I wouldn't go anywhere near any of these. I think they were all like Chevron and stuff like that, and I was thinking, oh, this one isn't for me. But it's a different kind of investing. It's a different way of thinking. I think he has. Obviously, you're going to be open to anything. You're going to be open to any bank that's got a lot of cash on hand, a lot of reserve, anything like that. You want to be interested in. And ultimately, the rule is don't think macro. So maybe it's always an option, isn't it?
It's key.
You own any
JP
banks at the
Morgan,
moment, Paul?
I think.
I was going to say
And
it's key. It's key to note that Georgia is a country that's it's often overlooked, but it's actually growing its GDP at nearly 15% as well. So there's impending war, or at least threat of war, serious threat of war maybe. But Georgia's economy is doing pretty well. If you fancy some, I mean, I think it's hellacious level risk. But if you fancy some risk, you're going to collect a pretty decent dividend there at a very, very cheap bank. Seems to be doing pretty well, just from the glance over the statistics.
What's Georgia known for? What's its sort of
Alan, I think.
That's its biggest export.
yeah, like
Georgie King Clancy. He was Georgian, wasn't he?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he was Georgian.
Yeah,
With a name like that.
I think
yeah.
there you go. That's what George is famous for. And let us know in the comments if you know anything else.
Yep, this isn't making the edit, is it?